S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky is odd. Coming off of Shadow of Chernobyl, I expected improvements from the beginning, and at first I thought I was going to get them. However, I did not get them at the beginning. I got them nearly 7 hours into the story and roughly 4 hours before the end. Where Clear Sky is very similar to Shadow of Chernobyl, some key survival aspects have been reworked and are devastating in the early hours of the game, with a lack of ammo, meds, and money choking the player. Food and drinks have been kept the same, however bandages have been changed to only stop 1 of 3 tiers of bleeding, and are no longer used for quick healing. Weapon degradation is almost non-existent, and armor breaks way too often offer any benefits to buying something new, instead of just upgrading or repairing. Clear Sky's combat is awful. Bullets do random damage, enemies can no longer one-shot you, but they still have 100% accuracy with 2-shot weapons instead. Grenade spamming is a real issue, as enemies have an infinite amount, and the player's grenades are as effective as a deflated football. The biggest issue is with the aiming, as sensitivity is all over the place and the weapon bloom is atrocious. The game implements realistic mechanics, such as weapon jamming, stamina, and improved accuracy the stronger your stance. However, the game's ADS is a lie. The crosshair is always in effect, even when it's turned off. ADSing only overlays the gun's sights on top of a crosshair and does not noticeably affect bloom at all. Clear Sky is a prequel to Shadow of Chernobyl, where you play as some random mercenary that is trying to prevent the protagonist of the first game from ending the world. No real twists occurred during the game, and the main plot is used just to move the player through the new environments. The immersive sim elements from the first game are still present, but don't add much to the game's ever-present faction system. Helping certain factions is needed to progress, so the illusion of choice is pampered with needlessly side-questing for other factions in order to keep being friendly with them.
I'll draw his attention, and you head into the building and deal with that MG. Go on my signal. Go, Mark, go!
Clear Sky is made up of ex-military and scientists that wish to study the zone around Chernobyl's blast area. Stalkers are independent people, similar to mercenaries, that try to make a living off of the zone. Freedom are a load of stoners that just vibe in a Warhammer club pretending to be a military group.
Peace out, dude! Too bad we didn't roll a joint together.
Bandits are the typical thieving type and are mostly enemies. And Duty Faction is a military group that isn't actually the military. Coming out only a year after Shadow of Chernobyl, the game's visuals and setting variety have improved substantially, with some great lighting and some depressingly somber locations. Although a majority of the playtime is spent retreading the same map from the first game in a different order, it changed a few things to make it somewhat interesting. The horror has been downplayed for the most part, with the only real horror section lasting all of 5 minutes. Visual storytelling has also nearly removed the horror aspect from S.T.A.L.K.E.R entirely, with just a few bodies and a couple skulls lying around the map. The official soundtrack has also been improved in the weirdest of ways, with the option to toggle a dynamic soundtrack to play over combat. This, on top of the general ambience and occasional radio songs, help make the world more lived in and believable. However, the sound mixing and the dynamic music have their issues, with the game's triggers not functioning properly, having combat music play over a nice walk in the forest, or the loudest thing I've ever heard in a game. The game had its fair share of glitches and jankiness, with physics objects and props being misused and clipping through the world, to characters just being invulnerable and not interacting with the player. I think that overall, where Shadow of Chernobyl has a much better start, I do tend to prefer Clear Sky overall. Where I tended to hate Clear Sky was during the forced linearity in meeting the factions and the awful middle near the swamps. With 1 soft lock, 2 crashes, and 3 days of my life I somewhat regret, I don't think you should play S.T.A.L.K.E.R Clear Sky.